Hi, Contessa. Welcome to the Career Contessa podcast, your shortcut to being more fulfilled, healthy, and successful at work. I'm your host, Lauren McGoodwin, and we're back today with another episode in our 3 in 30 series where we bring you 3 tangible tips in 30 minutes that you can implement in your career right now. My co host for this series is Marnie Lemonik, a career coach and a regular on the podcast. Hi, Marnie.
Hello, everyone. Today we are already in holiday prep mode, which is wild to say. We're going to chat all things paid time off, whether you get stressed about taking time off before, during, or after your holiday trips. We have you covered with all the tangible tips and systems that will make your time off more enjoyable this year. Before we dive in, we're actually recording this right before Halloween, so we're a little ahead of when this is going to air. But Lauren, I still need to know, how is it going with the kids' costumes? Is it looking like they're going to change their mind last minute? What's happening?
I really hope not. I'm 24 hours before they actually just have to commit to this. At this point, if they change their mind, they're going as toddlers. So yeah, hopefully my daughter's gonna be a pumpkin still, supposedly. My son is either gonna be a doctor or a firefighter or a dinosaur, which is great, except that we don't have a dinosaur costume. We have all the other ones. So um, I don't know. It's really funny because it's like all of his friends are going to be Batman and or dinosaurs. So now he's like decided he doesn't want to be a firefighter. And it's kind of funny how that happens like so early in life. Like,
Yeah.
wait, I'm the only one going to be this. I don't want to do that. So, yeah, hopefully Halloween. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge all the working parents who are working and doing like trunk or treat at school or the Halloween parade and the costume and delivering pumpkins to the classroom. Like it is a full-time job already doing it all. And then you throw in a holiday and it's like they are trying to break us. And I know it's all about your kids and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I just want to acknowledge all the parents out there who are just doing so much more, especially this week. So, yeah. What about you? You've had a big life change. She just sent me this random text, you guys, the other day that's like, I don't live in Texas anymore. I was like, that's not, you can't text that. Like, what?
I know, I know. I keep joking that I feel like 2025, I don't know if anyone believes in astrology, but I definitely follow the astrology and it's been a lot of big changes and I feel like that's come to pass in everyone's lives. Yeah, I've been in Texas for almost the last 4 years and I just decided to kind of switch it up and I'm back in California right now. So I don't
Oh,
know.
cool.
So we
Okay.
can do future recording in person. I'm
Yeah.
in West Hollywood. I don't know if I'll be here like super long term. I travel a little. I have always been one of those people who just loves having a home base. I'm not like a digital nomad person, but I am in a situation now where obviously I work for myself and I have a little bit more flexibility. I've never taken advantage of it. So I'm kind of just like flying by the seat of my pants and seeing
Wow. I love it. I love it. I never got to do anything like that. And I feel like when I could have done that, it was like COVID and then I had kids. So you like it just like the way it worked out life wise, it didn't
out.
happen for me. And I'm always have this like envious part of like, I wish I had like now I work for a fully remote company, but like I have kids, my husband has a job. So it's just one of those things where you're like, yeah, do it because like it's very hard to get the timing of all that to match up. Airbnb should sponsor you. Like
Exactly. We need them sponsoring the pod, and I should reach out to them. Yes. Exactly.
Airbnb, are you in the business of giving away free housing just so someone can live out this adventure? If so, call Marnie. Yeah, I think that's great. Well, I know we're talking about prep today, and I just want to mention that the reason why this came up for Marnie and I is because I feel like Halloween is the beginning of you starting to think about bigger holidays in general. So this is like the Super Bowl kickoff of like holidays for everybody. I get that, but then also holidays and work, which is like its own beast to manage.
Yeah, and the reason that we actually put this episode together was because Lauren had a 10-day vacation this year, which I feel like is an accomplishment in the corporate world.
I I
But
know I've never taken that long of a and to be fair, it was because my kids had the week off school. So like I probably wouldn't have done that, but I was like forced into it. And I actually think it was really good because I don't think I've ever done that, which is like a whole other episode of like, why don't we feel like we can take time off? But yeah, it was glorious, kind of. I mean, I was basically just momming the whole time, but yeah, it was still nice.
the other job that you do full time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I will let you kick this one off, Lauren, since we're going to go a little bit more tactical to start. And then we do have some of those more mindset, it's important to take your vacay pieces later on in the episode too. But why don't you kick us off with number one?
Sure. I mean, if you're a regular listener, then you know how much I stress the importance of AI. But we're going to take it a little deeper than usual on how to actually use it to leverage or how to actually leverage AI so that you can go on a vacation. And this isn't just about being more efficient or getting more work done. It's about really making your work compatible with real rest, which will preserve your mental health and avoid future burnout. So, as Marnie mentioned, I went on a 10-day vacation this summer and I was really shocked because, again, normally I am a person where I'm like, even if I go on vacation, I'm still working while I'm on vacation. And as those of you with kids probably know, it's like that's just not a realistic possibility. I always joke like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll try to get this done on the weekend. It's like not happening in my life. But this year I was able to come back from my vacation and I didn't have inbox panic. I didn't have any like that productivity hangover that I think I normally have. And I really just didn't come back to like just pure chaos. And that was because I used AI to really help me with this like quote catch up. And that was something that previously before AI, the post vacation catch up was scary. It was like, oh gosh, like what did I miss? Or, what am I walking into? Or this is going to take a really long time. And I like there is still that like post 24 hours catch up, but I would say like it used to take me like a week to catch up. And this time it only took me like 24 hours. So I really credit that to just like better systems. And I will say like a big part of that is the systems of using AI. So it kept work moving forward even without me being there. And I didn't have to spend, like I said, hours playing catch up. So here's what I did on Monday when I got back. I'm going to share these tips because I hope that this will be helpful for anybody who's thinking about going on vacation. Now, when you go on vacation and the rest of your company's on vacation, like that week between Christmas and New Year's that a lot of people have off, for example, it's less panicky. But this is like good tips to use when you're going to take off and everybody is still running. So, AKA, they're still treating you like you're there. So, the first thing I did on Monday morning when I got back, I did three things. So, I did the instant catch up. So, I asked AI to summarize all the threads, docs, and meeting notes that I missed. So, I really got that like TLDR on 2 weeks of work in under an hour. Now, I set up Loom to go to all my meetings while I was gone. I kind of let everybody know, like, hey, I won't physically be in the meeting, but my Loom AI note taker will be showing up. So I did have to set some things up ahead of time so that I had Loom AI attending all my meetings. And then, as part of one of my catch up items when I came back, it was like part of the summarization is I had that. Um, the other thing is Slack has some really good AI tools. Like we use Slack at Atlassian. So you can look at the AI tools for like if you guys use messaging. If you use email, there's probably some AI email tool that like will read all your emails for you and kind of help you catch up. So my AI tools are very specific to Atlassian and the work I do there. But I'm just saying like every company now is starting to have AI tools. So also look into those. So that was one of the first things I did. Okay, the next thing I did is I wanted a project status snapshot without digging for context. So I think the problem is like when you come back from catch up, it's not just about like, oh, this project is doing XYZ. It's that like, what's the context of how you got to that decision so that you have that knowledge moving forward. And you don't want to, I think what used to take a long time in the catch up is I would have to ask somebody and wait for them to be available and go back and forth. And with AI, it's like, I don't have to wait for somebody to be available to get the knowledge that I need, or for me, the context that I needed. So instead of combing through comments and feedback across, all these we use Confluence, all these active Confluence pages, I asked AI to summarize what was in progress, what was blocked, and what was done. Again, for the specific AI tools, we use Confluence at Atlassian, and then we have our own AI tool called Rovo. So Rovo can like read across all of my work apps that I use. You might not have Atlassian tools, but you might have something else that can do that. So I give you these ideas so you can start thinking about like, oh, maybe I had this AI tool available, but I wasn't using it in that way. And it was really cool because it did it. And I then I asked it to turn that into a Confluence page with bullet points because I didn't want to be overwhelmed with the list. So that was really nice. Okay, and then the last thing I asked AI to do is generate a reboarding plan. So I asked AI to build a custom day one back checklist so I could focus on what mattered and then like skip the noise. And for me, I'm very to-do list oriented. And so that really worked for my brain to sort of be like, what are the most urgent things? Like you've read my meeting notes, you read all the project statuses of things I was working on. If you are me, like which and I asked Rovo to do this, like create like the most important, most urgent checklist. And it's like respond to this person, check this thing that was in progress to see if it's done yet. Um, I was really impressed. I had really low expectations that AI could actually help me and like do these things, but I think I also learned I was like, okay, there's a couple things I need to set up differently, or I need to write things differently because AI takes the information that you get. So it for me was a really good starting point on how to take a vacation and sort of still have work moving forward in the background. So for me, it really hits that happy medium of I want to go on vacation. I want to truly take time away from work, but I also don't want to feel the panic of like I'm missing something important, or when I come back, it's going to just be complete hell and chaos that I have to catch up on. So I hope this is helpful and like inspiring for somebody who's maybe getting more comfortable with experimenting with AI and sort of thinking like, okay, I think we talk a lot about how to use AI at work and to help you and your team. And it's like, I'm like, how can I use AI to help me, Lauren, like progress in my career, be smarter about how I work? And so it is a very like self-serving piece of advice, but I do think this is like you should get to take a vacation and enjoy your time off and not have that stress. And so for me, this was like a real unlock. So yeah, those are my tips in a nutshell.
I am loving this AI masterclass. Two things stuck out to me. The first is that I feel like going about it this way is also probably just so conscientious to your coworkers. Like the fact that it's like, oh, I'll have my recorder join. I'm not going to ask you guys to catch me up, or I'm not going to pull time away for you to just regurgitate what was already shared in this meeting a week ago. Like, I think that's actually extremely kind outside of it being helpful to you. And then the other thing I was curious is just because I feel like there is, well, I know you guys are not super meeting heavy at Atlassian, but I was going to say there's so much volume of work that you're missing in a 10-day period. Are you taking all these learnings and this to-do list and next steps and then gut checking with your manager and being like, okay, is there anything missing? Or did you do any QA on the process of what all the AI tools spit out?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I think you kind of have to just because AI gets whatever is documented. So if something hasn't been documented, then it's like, oh, that's going to completely miss it, right? Like if it wasn't said in the meeting and it was said in like a private Slack DM that maybe you weren't part of or something, or like said in a Zoom call that you weren't part of or whatever like that. So I did, which does require you to probably like wait for your manager to get back to you. But I do think it's like a really proactive approach to be like, I did these things. Here's what I see as my top priorities this week. Does this like align with what you're looking for? Is there anything that you need from me that's urgent and I should move to the top of the list? Like I think it's the difference between starting kind of at zero and coming to them at like you're in like at a five and 10 is sort of the max. So I feel like I had done like half of the work. And I think for managers, as someone who used to manage people at Career Contessa, like I would really appreciate someone doing that and just sort of like trying to figure it out on their own and then asking the questions. I think it's really hard when you come to a manager and you're just like, so what did I miss? It's like too big and too looming. And
Hmm.
I will say too, I do think it creates, if your team starts to do this type of stuff, it creates a culture where the onus is on them. So it's like the more you do this, the more it just becomes part of like your team's routines and habits and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, which is the perfect tie-in to our second tip because PTO is so tied to just the norms and culture of the company. So, our second official tip is pay attention to the PTO norms at your company and flag any questions or concerns ahead of time. It's closely related to our boundary setting episode, which, if you did not listen to that from October, has been a very popular one. Even though this one feels obvious, it's surprisingly underutilized. PTO is one of the most culturally specific topics, I would say, meaning what's expected and the norms differ so heavily from company to company and even sometimes team to team because often the manager is setting the tone. So, if you're preparing for your first meaningful vacation in your role with the upcoming holiday season, I would say everything I'm about to say counts extra. It's still worth paying attention, even though you've been in your role for years too. So if you're on the other side of the coin and you feel like you know the norms, it does again change based on the business needs, new leaders coming in. So if you're someone who wants to fully unplug when you're off, but all your leaders and peers are those types of people where they're 100% on, you can always slack me. It doesn't mean you need to follow the pack, but it does mean that you need to over communicate your expectations ahead of time because you're going against the grain or doing something a little different. So, here are some of the tangible tips so that you can communicate effectively and get what you're looking for out of your PTO. And the first, which I think, Lauren, you've talked about on the pod before, is something so simple, but just including upcoming PTO in your email signature. My rule of thumb is always 1 to 2 weeks before you're off. So you don't need to say in October that you're taking off in December. That's like a little overkill, but enough of a lead time to where it would be relevant for people, especially if you're working on live projects with folks that are going to span the time that you'll be off. The second idea is to compile a list of coverage items that need to be handled and working with your manager to identify owners. So if you're going with Lauren's route, you might not even need coverage, which is great. I know in a lot of my corporate roles, I was client facing. So unfortunately, AI hasn't gotten there quite yet. And I did need someone to be the go-to person for my clients or if issues arose, which leads to the third tip, which is clearly communicating in your out of office message when recipients can expect a response and specifically how to escalate issues, but tying each escalation to a specific theme. So the big mistake I would say that I see people make is like, oh, I'm off, I'll be back this date and you'll hear from me then. Or I'm off, reach out to Lauren with any questions. And it's like, poor Lauren's going to get God knows what because people are just going to forward it along and say you were listed. So I would say on that out of office, if you clearly name which reason warrants an outreach to a specific person, you're just setting everyone up for success. So that could be for XYZ issues, reach out to Lauren. For any errors tied to this, reach out to Susie. For all other requests, I'll kindly return your email by Wednesday, the 27th, because maybe you're getting back Monday, the 25th, and you want to give yourself a few days. You don't need to give in that auto response the exact date you're coming back because those first 24 hours are probably going to be a little wild. So I would actually anchor on a date that you feel confident you can get back to emails to, just so that you're not creating more stress for yourself in that first day back.
Mhm. Okay, two thoughts slash tips. One thing I love to do, maybe like a week or 2 weeks before you go on PTO, is put it in either your email signature that you're going on PTO and the dates you're going, or like again, we use Slack where you can do like a status update, something where you just you slowly start giving people a heads up. So it's not just like one day they're emailing you, the next day they get your out of office.
Mhm.
And I think obviously in your office environment, you can let people know that or let your team, but especially for clients, I think like an email signature is really good. The other thing, if you're going to have them start reaching out to, Marnie while Lauren's out of office, then like leave Marnie some context before you go. Either start CCing her on emails a few days before or create like a one-page document. Or my favorite tool is I would just record a Loom where I'm like, here are the three things that are going on, because Loom, you can read the transcript, you can bop around to like quote the chapter. So like for me that's faster than writing something out, but everyone has their preference, their communication preference. And then also like if you're leaving someone and asking them to do something, create like a Loom tutorial, and leave them with that, because I don't think it's really helpful if they just have written documents. It's like it's so much easier to have a visual sometimes for training. So just as a like do the courtesy or the right thing of like whoever you're putting in those emails to contact, like give them the information they have or they need, without asking them to do like one more job for you. I think a big part of like getting promoted or sort of like being invaluable at work is also like being easy to work with. And that's part of like what is being easy to work with, is giving like me giving Marnie everything she needs to be successful while I'm out of office, and it's going to help me. It's a good like relationship builder. She'll do the same thing when she goes out of office. So just as an FYI, like wanted to flag that as like two things I think would go a long way with those tips.
Yeah, I love that call out. And the other final note I wanted to give on this front, just because I've seen this play out personally, is I gave the example of if everyone is online and you want to be offline, which I think, a lot of people want to be able to unplug, but I do want to talk about the reverse example of that and how you can hurt yourself. So if you have a culture where everyone is fully unplugging on vacation, that's what's been communicated is please take your time off and then you are the one who feels the need to stay super involved because of whatever reason it may be. You want control, you feel guilty, whatever. If you have someone cover you, and then you are simultaneously getting to Slacks before them, or that you're like, oh, I know the
Yeah,
answer to that email, I'm just going to respond to that email. It makes things so much worse. And I've seen people do this thinking like, oh, I want to show that I'm super committed. I want to show that I have a really high work ethic, but you're just creating confusion. And it's almost like slightly disrespectful to the culture of the team and the dynamic that everyone is trying to anchor around. Because if
yeah,
everyone is trying to say you're empowered to take your time off, and then you're coming in and trying to be around all the time, you're disrupting that a little bit. So I know we have a lot of top performers that listen to the pod. So I would just like to give that caveat as well.
yeah. Challenge yourself to really step away. It is an adjustment. Okay, let's wrap up with tip number three, which is some mindset shifts to get you ready to be in vacation mode because sometimes the hardest part of vacation mode is the mental block, is like just being like what Marnie just said, like not responding to Slack and like looking for something to do work wise. So if you're someone who has worked at companies where actually enjoying PTO is not the norm, then all of a sudden you join a team that actually wants you to take your time off, it can feel like an adjustment. So let's clear up a few things. Number one, it is not lazy to take time off. It's actually the most productive thing you can do for yourself in the long run. Your ambition is a marathon, not a sprint, and the breaks you give yourself will ultimately propel you further. Number two, if you don't take time off, you're missing out on one of the key benefits of full-time work. If you're in a traditional corporate job with paid time off, you literally have that. So please use it. Number three, the more vacations you take and fully unplug, the easier it will be to do in the future. So it's kind of like one of those muscles that gets stronger the more you use it. While you don't tend to think about it as like a habit, how we take vacation is a norm that we create for ourselves and becomes easier with more reinforcement. And you also kind of create that natural norm for your team too. Like they know, okay, Marnie takes vacation, she's truly off, so I know that I can't expect her to slack right away, but I know she'll get to it when she comes back. So you're also just kind of creating a little bit of like your reputation with that as well. But taking vacation, I think all of us used to feel like it was going to make our reputation lazy. It absolutely does not. So please take it.
That last one is so real. I always say that burnout is an inside job that's normally caused by the work habits you've fallen into, and not taking your PTO totally falls in that camp. And I used to be someone who struggled in the past. And the thing that really helped me, which this is getting a little bit like big picture, is just making sure that you're remembering the ultimate reason of why you're taking vacation. So if you're spending time with your loved ones, especially if you don't get to see them very often, if you don't live near them, then being present is the most kind thing that you can do and giving them your undivided attention and also your less stressed out version. No one enjoys being the partner, child, or parent of someone who is on that fire drill work call on a beach vacation. I have put my loved ones through that. I have been a loved one through that. It is not fun. You want to be your fun, carefree self. So we know this is all easier said than done, but take this episode as your sign that getting good at taking vacation is totally a skill worth investing in because it'll give you those lifelong memories with people that you really care about.
Yeah, not to mention your mental health, your stress, all of that is so, so, so important. So please enjoy, at a minimum, enjoy your holidays and then find a way to take a vacation at another time this year. So yeah, I hope everyone does enjoy their Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas if you celebrate, Hanukkah if you celebrate, everything else if you celebrate, because we all enjoy that, or we all deserve that.
Totally. Especially after this year. We all need a little breather.
I feel like we say that every year, but yes.
The years are getting somehow more intense. Uh, but I think 2026 is going to be a good one. I can't believe we'll already be doing predictions and all that good stuff soon.
I know. Which actually reminds me, so this is our last official 3 and 30. Marnie does have a solo episode that will be coming up, and then our next new one together will be doing 2026 career predictions in January. So super excited about that. But thank you as always for listening to a 3 and 30. Like I said, Marnie's going to be back in December with our first Ask Marnie Anything episode. So if you have any questions you want her to answer live, you can DM her directly at Marnie Lemonik. You could probably even send her a message on LinkedIn, whatever your preference is, because Marnie is a career coach. So this is your opportunity to literally ask her anything and get a personal response. So please take advantage of it. I know that everyone is in weird pivots career wise too. So like take
Mhm.
advantage of the Ask Marnie Anything episode for sure.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that one. I've already gotten some good ones on Instagram. So Instagram or LinkedIn, I'm very active on either, whatever is easier.
As always, don't hesitate to reach out with feedback directly to us. Again, Marnie on Instagram, me on LinkedIn, vice versa. We're pretty much everywhere. As we start to plan our 2026 episodes, we've actually had a couple people reach out with ideas, so we're working those in. So we really do read them all. And as always, thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Contessa podcast. Don't forget to take your time to rate, review, and subscribe. It really, really helps our show so we can be back here each week.